heading back home to Sydney from Darwin, straight down the middle of Australia, 4,500 kilometres to go, passing through Alice Springs, then on to South Australia and Port Augusta before crossing to Victoria and New South Wales. Looks like the car survived the night outside on the street, plugged in there up to 90%. Only one curious incident of a security event overnight. Checking out the Tesla, don't see many of those in these parts. Got the old plug over there. Thought I'd try and explain a little bit about what I mean by three-phase. So this is a typical three-phase plug used in Australia. Now, I'm not going to say I know exactly which pin is which, but essentially the middle pin is probably ground, and let's say the top pin is neutral, and therefore there'll be three phases. These are the three pins here. This one will be a 240 volt from the neutral, and up to 32 amps. Now power is measured by volts times amps, so 240 times 32 amps is about 7,400-ish watts, which is what power is measured in, so 7.4 kilowatts. Then you have another circuit, which is this one, this phase, this 240 volt across to that neutral, and that'll be another 7.4 kilowatts. And then another one, third phase, like three independent circuits, as if you've plugged three power points into a normal household socket and you've somehow combined them into one plug. So 3 7.4 give you a maximum of 22 kilowatts that can be drawn through this thing, which is quite a lot of power. Now these are all AC. So they're all running at 50 hertz, which means it's kind of like a sine wave. The voltage over time is a sine wave. And they're called phases because they're slightly out of phase. There's one that sort of has a loop like that, and the next one starts a bit later. And so it's a sort of a circuit design where you can combine all three phases into one phase with some really simple electronic circuitry to give you either very high volts or very high current. Now, I don't know what the Tesla does with those three. There's a box there that does something, and obviously the car has a charger which can interpret three-phase and try and get the maximum power that combine all those circuits to give you the potentially 22 kilowatts. And that's what it would do on a Model S. A Model 3 though, it's limited on its charger inside the car to only do 11 kilowatts, which means it can only pull 16 amps per phase. So 240 by 16 is about 3.5. 240 by 16, 240 by 16, 3.5, add them all together, you get about 11 kilowatts. And it's all roughly because the voltage can vary from say 250 to 230, so you can't always be exact on that. The unusual thing today though is that we had this normal old plug which I've been using everywhere that doesn't fit in this circuit. It's too big to go in there. That's because that one is a bit smaller. That's a 20 amp circuit. See, this one's a bit smaller. Can't really show it there. One on the right is a bit smaller. This is an Australian 20 amp three-phase circuit. Same idea, but it's limited to 20 amps. So I needed the box to convert that size socket into this size socket. And this is the box that does it. Probably given to me by the Tesla Owner Club to blend. So basically it plugs into the smaller one and then has the outlet one of the bigger one there. Now because that outlet can theoretically take 32 amps, but it can only supply 20 amps, you need the circuit breaker in there. And the circuit breaker just says, you know, if you're trying to pull more than 20 amps, I'm just going to trip and stop you doing it. Doesn't bother me because, like I said, I only pull 16 amps per circuit, and so therefore I'm never going to worry me. But if I had a Model S, I would have to down tune the current draw to be less than 20 amps. Anyway, it's the first time I've had to use it, but it's been very good because it's let me charge up overnight on this 20 amp plug at the Beagle Motor Inn in Katherine. Start of day 3. We're charged up to 99% overnight. Going to head to Daly Waters via Mataranka. Should have heaps of charge. It's only about 270 k's away. 35%. Good. So first off, we're going to stop at Mataranka, have a swim at the springs, and then on to Daly Waters for tonight. Fairly short day. Quick charge up at Mataranka Springs while we have lunch. We've been here before. There's my lovely wife Andrea, co-pilot for the next week, charging up for about an hour so we can go 130 k's all the way to Daly Springs. Okay, it's 2:40. We've just charged up at Mataranka, back to 90%, which means we get to Daly Waters with 43%, just after 4:30. So lovely swim. It's a nice hot day, 39 degrees. Geez, it's hot. And be able to go about 130 all the way now. So let the speed begin. Charging up at Daly Waters. Trouble with Daly Waters is that there's a lock on the box that you charge from, and you've got to go find the key, and they never know where the key is, so it takes you about half an hour to get going. So for future reference, this is what the key looks like. If you go to the reception and say find this key, it might make it faster. Anyway, we got here at 40%, we're sitting on 120, 130 all the way through. We'll charge up to about 90% now, and then we'll do the last 10% in the morning. So great drive, great bit of swimming in Mataranka, and yeah, we're we got here about 4 o'clock. It's only 5 o'clock now, so we're just a pretty cruisy day. You can see our consumption over the time we were going 130, 120. Was probably about 190, so it does take a bit more power when you go fast, but not as much as I thought. So you lose, probably 3 or 4%, maybe 100 k's you go. So yeah, it's good. The road does get a bit bumpy at 130, but that's all fun and games. Quick look at our trip computer so far. So we did 300 k's today. We obviously averaged 192 because we're going very fast. Pushed our average up. So yeah, a bit longer day tomorrow. I think we're doing about a bit over 400 or about 400. So we'll reset that. We probably will charge during the day tomorrow, but we don't have to. See how we go. Anyway, let's charge up now, get some dinner later on, and enjoy the Daly Waters hospitality.